Quite often I hear, if you have a Furina in C6 Xingqiu, Yelan isn't worth it anymore. Heavily disagree, and today I intend to tell you why. My name is Juice and let's get into it. Hear me out before watching. For the record, I want to say that yes, Xingqiu is an extremely amazing 4-star character. He is a wonderful character with plenty of defensive qualities, and I'm not trying to say he's bad in this video. Also, my opinion is not the be-all end-all. I just want to present my own opinion on this, and you are free to share yours. It's completely fine if you think I'm being a bit wild, just let me know. How can anyone improve without a good bit of discussion? So let's talk down below, and you are valid in feeling that way. I just personally disagree. A new not long characters are coming up soon, so don't feel inclined to pull for Yelan if you're already very content with Xingqiu. We need to start by briefly discussing why each character is so good, because then we'll be on the same page. Yelan, high sub DPS, her A4 ramping damage bonus, infinite flexibility, making every team she's put into immediately have a larger overall damage profile. And if you want to try out Yelan, she's on banners right now. But where can you go to afford cheaper Primo Gems? Well, allow me to introduce you to Loot Bar. Loot Bar is a wondrous service which can offer you cheaper Genesis Crystals and Stellar Jades compared to the official prices shown in-game. Look at this comparison between the official cost and the Loot Bar cost. New users get a wonderful 5% off, and the prices are up to 20% cheaper compared to the official channel. Loot Bar is completely safe as a service and has countless positive reviews. But how does it actually work? Glad you asked, my friend. First, input your UID. That's right, you need no login information whatsoever. Choose your desired package, and then boom, what do you know, more Primo Gems for me. This is all legit since the site uses a VPN, which is how they cheapen the Primo Gems, and official top-up methods are used. Check out Loot Bar today to save on all your gacha needs. I've already spoken about Yelan extensively in my pros and cons, you should all get the idea by now. She's a sub DPS who deals in hyper offense while also having some solid buffing on the side. Xingqiu, on the other hand, is an excellent 4-star sub DPS who offers a crap ton of Hydra application, which is really nice in Hyper Bloom teams, and has a lovely amount of sustainability in his kit, which makes him feel really comfortable to use. Damage reduction plus mild heals, on the whole, quite a good 4-star character. So clearly, I think highly of both units. Why is it that I'm so adamant on the idea of Yelan being better? Simple. Most of Xingqiu's value lies in defensiveness and Hydra application. His defensiveness does not matter after a certain point. Either you bring a healer because you're playing Furina, or you bring a shielder because you're getting interrupted a lot. Xingqiu's interruption resistance is not gonna stop you from getting knocked all over the place, buddy. You can indeed find use in it. I'm not saying it isn't good quality of life, but you are really not struggling to clear without it. Correct me down below otherwise. If you're having problems that bad, then you're pulling out your Zhongli or Layla. Xingqiu's defensive utility is not going to keep your Yoimiya from getting knocked over by a boss, or your shieldless Copper Duo fights from being any less aggravating. It's nice when stacked with multiple forms of interruption res, like res packed into a unit's kit, or additional interruption res like Xingqiu and Beidou being in one team. With that being said, are you using Beidou often enough for that to be a consistent synergy? Probably not, unless you're a Beidou main or something. Shout out to you troopers. Anyways, this is a whole lot of defense that you just do not need. And Hydro, if you need that much Hydro, then you play double Hydro. Oh look, Yelan is here now. It's almost like they cover for each other's qualities really well. But if you add Furina to the team, bye-bye to Xingqiu. Hear me out. Yelan's Hydra application is not that bad. Hu Tao can vape with Yelan consistently. Just normal attack twice, charge attack, and repeat. You will vape most hits with her, and Yelan's lower Hydra application is perfect for quick bloom teams, aka Alhaitham, where you allow for more Alhaitham spreads due to you not constantly triggering Dendro cores, while also providing Haitham's DPS damage bonus percent with her ramping A4. Same applies to all other quick bloom teams. And as for raw Hyper Bloom, Yelan's personal DPS outdamages whatever extra Hyper Blooms your Xingqiu would be proccing. Yelan has offense over defense, which is infinitely more valuable because she has enough Hydra application for most situations. Pairing her with Furina covers for those instances where she does not, and she can replace Xingqiu literally anywhere and help you clear faster. You are not telling me that Arlecchino with Xingqiu clears faster than Arlecchino with Yelan. Also, acting like Yelan has none of her own quality of life is a bit silly. She could run across the Abyss Arena way faster with her skill, saving time if your enemies spawn across the arena from you. It's small, but so is Xingqiu's damage reduction and mild healing, because if you need healing, you're using an actual healer. Who looks at Furina's fanfare mechanics and goes, "Ah yes, Xingqiu will be amazing for maxing this out"? For the record, Xingqiu's DPS isn't even that bad, like he is a good 4-star. Don't get it twisted, I'm aware that he's very strong. With that being said, I simply can't agree that he does as much damage as a C0 Yelan. Most Xingqius will be built on an ER weapon with mediocre crit stats, because you're using him for his Hydra application most of the time. Yelans are usually more optimized for damage, and it's not hard for Yelan to outdamage Xingqiu with a freaking slingshot on hand. Also, let's stop acting like 4-star constellations are easy to get, okay? It can cost you hundreds to C6 one single 4-star character. One of my best friends spent a rather insane amount to C6 his Chevreuse, and I spent an absurd amount to C6 my Farazan. Even if they're on the same rate-up banner, you cannot guarantee that you'll get lucky. Not only that, but the pool of 4-star characters is freaking huge now. It is not easy to land the exact 4-star you want on the standard banner anymore. Xingqiu was free in an event over 2 years ago. A lot of people watching this will feel nothing when I mention the name Iori Dori Festival, so you can't act like a C6 Xingqiu is always the most free-to-play friendly option around. You also can't pretend like most people don't spend their shop currency on pulls over 4-star cons. People want their characters, it is why they play these games in the first place. Hypothetically, let's say you have 100 star glitter. Are you gonna get 20 more pulls to lock in an Arlecchino, or are you going to get 3 more constellations on your Xingqiu? Yes, the Xingqiu constellations are extremely valuable, but you can't just cut out the emotional factor here. Free-to-plays, especially, will prefer pulls, since they need all the pulls they can get. If you're a free-to-play who doesn't agree, then let me know down below both why that is, and the 4-star that you've bought from the shop to gather constellations for. What I will say is that investment levels matter. It wouldn't be fair of me to go to a new player with no characters and start explaining to them why Xingqiu is mid now because of Furina and Yelan's existence if they're just starting out and have nobody. Xingqiu will still be a godsend for them. Plus, even for more experienced players, it allows for playing double Hydro on one half, while still having a really good Hydro character for the other half. The more invested someone is, the less they need Xingqiu specifically, because Yelan scales so much better with high investment. And let's not pretend like, outside of perhaps speedrunning, that most folks run Xingqiu on a 5-star weapon. I'm not saying that this is absolutely impossible and literally nobody does it, but if we're going to speak on behalf of a large part of the player base, people are usually pulling 5-star weapons for their favorite 5-star characters and will be running Xingqiu on Sacrificial or Favonius for the comfort of it. I have a Furina and Yelan, so I basically never use my Xingqiu when I play the game for my own pleasure. Take this phrase with a huge grain of salt because my Furina is C6, but if you ask most AR60 players who have both characters which they prefer, without any outside influence, they will most definitely always say Yelan. Xingqiu's defensive utility just doesn't matter when you can kill the enemies as soon as possible. So yeah, let's realize that every player is at a different stage in the game, and some people might not feel like upgrading to Yelan when they want to save for other characters, because they don't consider it worth the cut down clear time that Yelan offers you. And I'm sure that there's many people watching this video that will tell me now that their Xingqiu clears faster than their Yelan. Okay, so does your Yelan have enough ER, what is her HP, and what is her crit? Don't underrate ER on her. Furina does not make Yelan irrelevant either. Plain and simple, she just does not. Because they can work together or on either side. Furina is simply knocking Xingqiu out of the food chain. Just because Furina offers damage bonus percent doesn't suddenly mean that Yelan isn't a massive DPS increase over Xingqiu. In fact, with Furina's team-wide damage bonus percent buffing, she'll be stronger than ever. If we're seriously gonna use this goofy logic, then Xian Yun made Kazuha irrelevant. Does that make any frickin' sense? No, obviously not. One existing does somewhat negate the value of the other, but one is being used for plunge playstyles plus 4P Song of Days Past. The other is being used for damage bonus percent and 4 Viridescent Venerer. Yet if you have those two, are you gonna give Sucrose a second look? No, definitely not. You don't need Sucrose anymore if you have both Xian, Yun, and Kazuha. Well, she does have EM buffing, but are you really gonna put up with all that clunk just for that? Listen here, this video is not to make you feel like garbage for liking or defending Xingqiu, or to make you absolutely agree with me that Xingqiu is unnecessary once you have Furina and Yelan. You are absolutely more than welcome to disagree with me, but these takes are all from my own perspective, and I am simply seeing less and less reasons to use Xingqiu as time goes on. With that being said, Yelan is here right now. Do I recommend her? Oh yes. Is she a staple character in the way that bread is a staple food for humans? Absolutely. Will she make your time in the Spiral Abyss so much better? For sure. Do you need her in order to clear the game? No! She is not a necessity. You can live without eating bread as well. Kind of insane how you can just never eat bread for 80 to 100 years, but gluten-intolerant people have proven it. So if you're a Yelan-intolerant person who seriously wants to save for Notlan, then keep doing that. I am not here to tell you to drop your original plans to pull for a character that you really do not want just because they are meta. Especially if you have another character, cough cough Xingqiu, that you personally feel services you well enough. This video was to inform you that people who do care about meta and want to pull for Yelan as an overall account upgrade shouldn't be dissuaded from doing so because Xingqiu exists. Another thing I want to say is that I might get some folks telling me, but X said this, why told me that? That's fine and dandy, everybody prioritizes different things. Some people may prioritize an extremely well-performing 4-star because of their accessibility over an insane 5-star which can cost a ridiculous amount to guarantee when starting from scratch. But this video is simply my opinion, from my point of view, with what I value being taken into consideration here. I've already said a couple of times throughout this video, you do not have to agree with me. The funny thing is that I don't even care about Yelan as a character. Obviously she's cool and I like her kit, but the only reason why I pulled her back then was because she was being underestimated and I was a huge Hu Tao main, so I wanted the chunky upgrade for her. With that being said, she knocked my socks off immediately, and I was very glad that I wasn't coerced into skipping her. Save your money obviously, and don't spend what you don't have if you really love a certain Notlan character. I myself am heavily after Kinich. With that being said, I'm not going to downplay how good Yelan is either. She is amazing, top class in my opinion, and if you care about meta, then she is so worth your time. Hopefully this video was able to tell you why I personally think that Yelan clears Xingqiu any day. This has been Juice, signing out, and the reason why Furina is better than both of them is because she was able to escape the villainous hairdresser that cut both of their hair.